Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit different, and by different I mean it's going to be like a tutorial sort of thing, not jokes and characters and all that kind of stuff I usually do, but like actual, like trying to teach something kind of deal, because I've been trying to figure out how green screens work here recently. And not how they work as in like, oh, well, what makes this thing do what it does, but how they work as in, how do I use one? How do I make one? That sort of deal. And through trial and error, I think I've figured it out. And I just want to make this video in case anyone else out there is wondering, how do you green screen? And maybe they've tried it and they've faced some of the same sort of difficulties I have with it, and they don't know like what they're gonna do about trying to do a green screen thing, and maybe this will help them. So the first thing that I want to bring up here is that the color of the screen really matters. And I don't just mean like, it's a green screen, it's gotta be green. Like, clearly that is part of it. Although, I think there are other colors that you could use too. But, I'm not gonna go into that. I haven't experimented with that. Just green is what I've experimented with. So what I mean by the color really matters is that this here is the first thing I tried to use as a green screen. It's just a sheet. It's a dark green sheet. And I might put in some clips of how that turned out. But it didn't go well. And I was like, what went wrong? Like, it's a green sheet. Shouldn't it work as a green screen? And so I got to thinking, because I was kind of like bummed out that it didn't work. And I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe it's too dark. Maybe the camera just picks it up as black. Because in the clips, it's like the screen is also, the picture that's showing up on the screen is also showing up like inside my mouth and my nostrils and stuff. Like in the shadow under the hat. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's so dark it's picking it up as black on the camera. So that was my assumption. So I'm like, okay, if it's too dark, maybe then a lighter green will work better. And so this was attempt number 2. It's a green sheet. It did not work any better. It's lighter. It's a lot lighter. Look at the difference. Okay? But, see, the thing is, even though it's lighter, it didn't work any better. And so I was really wondering, well, what's wrong here? Why did it not work? And I got to thinking, alright, maybe that shows up as white on the camera. If the other one showed up as black, maybe that shows up as white. Or like some other light color that's not green. So how do you solve that? Well, you get a brighter green, obviously. Just a green that's really bright. It stands out. You can't mistake it for anything else. That sort of color. But then I realized that you probably aren't going to find a sheet that is that bright green. And so I decided to look for an actual green screen, like go online and search up green screen. And turns out getting a green screen is like the same as, or cheaper actually, maybe, depending on where you go and how, like, fancy you want to get with it. It's might be cheaper, or it's like the same as just getting a sheet to use. So if you're going to make a green screen, don't make one out of a sheet. Just get an actual green screen, because then you'll know it'll be the right color. And here is what I got. This. And you can see this is definitely green. It's nice and bright. Look at the difference here. Which one is green? They're both green. But if you just had to pick, like, you got 2 seconds. Which one's green? This is green. You got 2 seconds. Which one's green? This one's green. So clearly this is going to show up better as green on camera. And I have tested this, like did a little green screen thing test. I hung it up here like I was trying to hang up the sheets. That's another thing. You can hang up a sheet on a wall with like thumbtacks and it'll be perfectly fine. This is heavier material than a sheet, so that doesn't work too well. And that's when I realized another problem with what I had been doing. When you hang something up and like there's a curve here, the wall is back here, this is right here, you gotta go, so there's depth there. And when I hung it up here, tacked it up there, there was a shadow over there. And so part of the screen was darker than the other part of the screen. And it's really just difficult to hang that up like you would hang a sheet on a wall. So I figured out a way to... So basically, you got to get the right color green. Shadows are a problem. And also just hanging up the actual green screen, because it's different material than a sheet, is a problem. So the next part of this video, I'm going to show you a frame that I'm making for the screen and how I'm going to attach the screen to the frame so it can stand freely. Alright, so for the part of this where we're building the frame, you're going to need 3 10-foot pieces of PVC pipe. This is 1-inch PVC pipe. And then 2 T's, 2 elbows, and that's it for that. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to make it 6 foot up at the top, 6 foot across, and then it's going to be 6 foot 6'4" across and 6'4" up. And so I'm just going to measure that right now. And then when I measure it, I'm going to take this and I'm going to mark it. And I'm going to do that for all 3. Alright, so right there is my mark. I'm going to check it. Yeah, that seems about right. Just want to check it to make sure, but it seemed right, so it's good. And then the next one. And you just want to take and you want to put your tape measure at the end of the pipe and bring it out to where it says 6'4", and you can see it. And you take your marker, move this over so you can see. So you want to extend your tape measure to where you can see 6'4", and then you just want to take and mark it with your marker, like that. Now I'll move on to the next one. Alright, so once you got your marks made on your pipe, then you can take one of these, if you got one of these, and find your mark, Where is it at? It's up here. Alright, so you find your mark. Right here is where this mark is. And you want to make sure you're lined up with it real good. And you tighten it up a little bit so it's tight on the pipe. Nope, not on the mark well enough. There, now it's on the mark, good. Alright, so you tighten it up, and you take and you twist it all the way around until you're back to the mark. Tighten it up a little bit more, twist it, and you just keep doing that until you're all the way through the pipe, which I think I'm getting pretty close all the way through. Maybe. It might not go all the way through. I don't think this wheel's big enough. Oh, there it goes. And it falls off like that. And you've got a pretty clean cut right there. And that's what those are good for. And you just have your little extra piece here. But if you don't have one of these, then you can always just use a normal saw, which is how I'll be doing the next one. Too bright out here. Alright, so with the saw, you want to just get it lined up on your mark. And you want to start kind of slow so you don't mess up. It can be kind of difficult to start it because it's slippery. Probably easier to start going backwards, not forward so much, until you get a groove in it. And then you can saw it like that. The saw is definitely more inefficient than that other thing. It's very wobbly. And when you get it pretty close, you can just snap it. Like that. See, look at the difference on these cuts. You see how jagged this one is? That's from the saw. This one's nice and clean. That's your only difference. But for what we're using it for, it's really not going to hurt anything if the cut's pretty jagged. Anyways, the next step here is you want to get your elbows like this. And you want to just take one, pop it on one of the ends, however it's going to go on there. Make sure it's nice and snug. It doesn't have to be too super snug, but you don't want it falling apart on you while you're making it. We ain't going to worry about glue or nothing on these because I want to be able to disassemble it when I'm done using it for the video. Well, not for this video particularly, but for just videos in general. I want to be able to disassemble it when I'm done. And you want to make sure your elbows are lined up pretty good so it doesn't come out crooked. And I think a little bit more this way. I'll be good. There we go. So now I got both my elbows on there. And then what you want to do is you want to take your other 6'4" sections. Alright. and you want to put the T's on the bottom of those. So I'll put one here, like that. Alright. And get my other section here. Get my other T. Put it on there. Like that. Nice and snug. And then what you want to do is when you attach this part, not this, but this pipe, the legs, to the elbow, you want this here to be going like towards and away from you. That way it'll stabilize the stand better. And you'll see that in a minute. But then you just put one up here like this. Alright? And then you can lean that down while you get your other pipe ready and put it on. And you can adjust this, just twist it a little bit, and it ought to adjust for you. And it won't stand up on its own until you get the feet on there. And I'll show you how to. Well, there we go, it fell off. Yay. So, if it's too loose on there, you could like tape it or something, I guess. But the next thing you want to do is, so that was a 10-foot pipe, and we cut it down to 6'4". So this section here should be like 3 foot, like 3'8". Yeah, it should be like 3'8". So this is a 3'8" section. So half of 3'8" would be 1'10". But just to be sure, because I'm not the best at math, I will measure that with the trusty dusty tape measure. Alright, so it's actually 3'9", not 3'8". So I'm gonna cut it. No, it is like 110.5 should be the center. If it's 3'9", that sounds about right to me. I'm just gonna mark it and cut it. Hope it works. If they're not the exact same length, it's not that big a deal. And you want to do that for 2 of them, and then the other one will just be a spare. It'll be asparagus. That looks centered. Yeah. It just didn't seem right when it was vertical. So it's the same general thing. Take this around, tighten it up, take it around, tighten it up, take it around, tighten it up, rinse, wash, and repeat until you got a cut in half pipe. Like so. And I'll do that with the next one. There we go, cut in half. So then what you want to do with these is you take them and you get this and you jam them in there on the tees. Like so. Now that should be pretty stable when it gets hooked together. Yeah, that should be pretty stable. Hopefully. I think maybe I hooked it up in the wrong order and that's why it fell apart. Anyways, you stick one in here, like so. You get your other one, stick it in there. Alright, that's in there. That's in there pretty good. Okay. So you got these. Like this. Take this one over here. There we go. It is standing. And it'll stay up definitely well enough to hold that screen. Hang on. Get you a better shot of it. See? There it is, standing. Oh, there's the bottom of it all the way down there. So yeah, that's it for that part, and I'll get you to the next part here in a minute. And there it is, the finished green screen. It's kinda unstable and wobbly, and if you look up here you can see, because we couldn't stitch it, we couldn't sew it because it tore the screen. The thread tore the screen when we tried to sew it, so we had to tape it on the other side to get it to work and stretch across the top pull like it's supposed to. And you can see the tape up there, and then it's too long, so it folds across, and taped up there for temporariness, which it just fell because it's tape. And hopefully this tape here holds well enough. If not, I guess I'll just have to retape it, because there's no better way to do it. But yeah, that's about it. That's how you do a green screen. Hope you found this video informational, and if nothing else, at least kind of entertaining. Bye.